Welcome to the Emisarios Unidos de Luz channel. If you enjoy this near-death experience story, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Now let's start with the story. A few years ago I became so severely afflicted by an infection. Expecting that I was going to die at any moment, I began to pray fervently. "I can't breathe," I expressed to my husband one evening while he was on the phone to the hospital. Numbness that began in my feet soon spread to the rest of my body, and when it reached my chest, I began to feel a stabbing sensation. The numbness soon spread to my arms, and it was at that moment that I began to separate from my body. Suddenly I found myself in a tower in the sky, and in front of me, with shoulder-length wavy brown hair and dressed in a white robe, stood Jesus. Entranced by his beauty, I stared at him unwaveringly while he looked at a point in the distance. In that place high up in the sky, I forgot about the circumstances that occasioned my arrival in heaven. I forgot that I had a family, an earthly life, that my heart stopped beating, and that I died. I didn't in any way reflect upon myself, however, as my attention was fixed upon Jesus, whose jubilation was so apparent that I couldn't help but wonder why. Suddenly he turned towards me, and telepathically I communicated to him how beautiful he was. "I am happy because today all those whom my Father has given me to gather are now here," he replied telepathically. "Where are they?" I asked. "Pay attention," he said gleefully as he pointed towards something in the distance. When I turned to see what he was pointing at, I saw that he was pointing towards a city that appeared so small to me from the vantage point of our high elevation. Although the city appeared small, I was able to clearly resolve the targets of my focus as if I had telescopic vision. With my attention focused on the imposing structures within the city, I was able to see buildings of gold and a building with a transparent dome. "The air is so pure, and I can breathe again," I explained. Jesus smiled at me, feigning ignorance like adults do with children. It hadn't yet occurred to me that I was in heaven even as I regarded the all-pervasive white light that seemed to illuminate everything. "They're waiting for you," he said. "Who's waiting for me?" I asked. He then offered me wrinkle-free and perfectly folded white clothing, and he crowned me with a gold crown that suddenly appeared in his hands. "Lord, the crown belongs to you," I said. "No, the crown is yours," he responded. "No, Lord, I don't deserve this." "You're mistaken," I replied. "It is yours," he asserted. "I don't deserve it." "Maybe one of the little stones on it," I replied, wondering what I had done to be exalted so majestically. The crown I observed was divided into 3 parts, each encrusted with jewels somewhat randomly organized. "Who arranged the stones?" I asked, irked by the crown's lack of symmetry. Jesus placed the heavy crown on my head, laughing as he did so. "Lord, I cannot walk around with a crown," I expressed, to which he replied with more laughter. It was at that very moment that I watched myself putting on the folded tunic. "I still have a body," I thought to myself. "Come, they're waiting for you," he said. "Who's waiting for me?" I asked. With the tunic on, Jesus and I began to walk on air amongst the clouds, and as we walked, I noticed that I was able to see more clearly the city beneath us. "Every time one of you arrives, the people of heaven know, and they wait to welcome you," he said. "Who are they?" I asked. "Them," he said as he pointed towards a sea of people dressed in white. I wasn't able to see the faces of those gathered, but I noticed that they all seemed to glow with a yellow-colored light. It astounded me to observe how many were gathered to welcome me, and especially so when they started clapping as if they knew me. You may well imagine my shock when they began to cheer, "Mary, you made it, you made it, you made it. Welcome, Mary. You made it." I made it? What did I do? I wondered. It didn't yet occur to me that I had died, and that the citizens of heaven were congratulating me on my achievement of attaining heaven. As they jubilantly welcomed me, I was able to feel a love of a magnificence that I had never before experienced, and I wondered why they loved me so much. "Why do those people receive me with so much love?" I asked Jesus as the crowd rejoiced. "They were waiting on you," he replied. "But, Lord, I don't know them," I asserted. He smiled at me in the same way that a parent smiles at their child who lacks understanding. "The people are my family, and this is my home. I belong here," I thought. While looking at me, he asked, "Do you know why you were rewarded today?" Receiving only my silence, he continued, "Do you see those people over there?" "There are so many," I replied as I looked at him quizzically. He smiled, and then suddenly an oval-shaped light appeared, surrounding a group of people below us. "Yes, Lord, I can see them," I said. "Those people are here because you spoke to them about me, and they listened to your words. Those people heard your words, and that is why they are here." "That is why you have been rewarded," he said. "Wow," I responded, being at a loss for words in my astonishment. "Do you see those people there?" he asked again. Then suddenly, an even larger oval surrounds another group of people beneath us. "Those people are here because they heard the word about me through those people with whom you spoke about me," he said. "You see those over there?" he asked again. Suddenly, an even larger oval surrounds yet another group of people beneath us. "Yes, Lord," I replied. "Those people are here because they heard the word from those people who heard the word from those people who heard the word from you," he explained. "Oh my Lord, wow," I thought, dumbstruck as I slowly digested what he was attempting to convey. He explained other things to me, but what he explained I was only able to understand some time after the NDE. It also occurred to me that the 3 clusters on the crown represented the 3 groups of people that he pointed out to me. "In heaven the law of love rules everything," he explained. The purity of the love that everyone there exuded and that pervaded all of heaven made me feel somewhat as if I didn't belong there, yet heaven's citizens made me feel as though I was one of them. "Lord, did I die?" I asked him, but he only smiled in response to my question. I repeated my question, and again he responded to my question with a smile. As I repeated the question for the 3rd time, it occurred to me that I had indeed died, even though my life on earth was but a vague memory. In my state of ecstasy, I wanted to remain in heaven, and the circumstances that culminated in my arrival in heaven were of little concern. Even as I wondered whether I might stay forever, the vision of a girl appeared in my mind's eye. Although it did not occur to me at first, I suddenly realized that the girl was my daughter. "Lord, I'm not rejecting this destiny, but I don't want to leave my daughter," I said. "Oh, that love of a mother," Jesus replied, and it was at that moment that I began to feel my physical body again. I could hear my husband on the phone. It took me some time to reorient myself, and for a while, I felt as though I was in between 2 worlds. Suddenly I heard a voice in my head ask, "Is there anything you want?" "Lord, heal me and give me more time here," I replied. I stayed at home knowing that I would be healed by Jesus, and that night, after waking from a few hours of sleep, I took a deep breath as I did in heaven and found that I was able to breathe easily. I realized subsequently to my NDE that Jesus wanted me to ask for his help whenever I needed it, that all I would need to do is ask in his name, and in his name whatever I asked for would be given. He wanted me to ask him to heal my body from the illness so that he could save my life. I also realized that that which unites heaven and earth is pure love, the love that knows no judgment. In my youth, I carried my Bible everywhere, in spite of people's criticism. If I felt that my Lord in heaven wanted me to deliver a message, I would deliver a message of his love to desperate people, in spite of my fears and apprehension. One of those very desperate people became an evangelist himself, an evangelist whose dissemination of the word has very profoundly touched the lives of many people. In relating to you my story, I hope to make you, the reader, aware of the powerful and transformative effect of the expression of the word of Jesus and the expression of the magnitude of his love upon the lives of others. You can never know what effect your words might have when you express to people the magnitude of his love, so don't be discouraged if you feel inspired to speak about that love.